Hey everybody, this is John Jordan Chronicles YouTube channel, back with another video. The topic today is going to be dealing with homophobia within the Black community as a Black LGBTQ person. I'm going to cover certain topics, and then I want you to get down in the comments and give me your opinions on homophobia in the Black community and how to combat it or how to counteract it. I think the root cause, the beginning, is the Black church and the influence it has in the Black community. I know myself, I grew up in a church with people, ministers and different people using what I found out since as an adult bad theology, or taking scriptures out of the historical context and then saying that those scriptures categorize homosexuality as a sin, when if you read linguistics, homosexuality, that word didn't even come into existence in the English language until the late 1800s. And so at the time the Bible was written, the concept that we have of gay, lesbian, trans people, bisexual people today didn't even exist. So that's part of it. But I grew up with being taught that homosexuality is a sin, and had to unlearn that theology and get rid of that internalized homophobia within myself, which I'm sure that other Black people had to as well. So that's one root cause, is the Black church and the influence there. The part that I find kind of asinine and laughable is that according to the U.S. government, the federal government data, 71% of the children in the Black community are born outside of a marriage, out of wedlock, without the parents being married. So the sin of fornication is not harped on, because that would have to be the situation with that percentage of the children in the Black community being born out of wedlock. That's over 2/3 of the children being born out of wedlock. But I really heard people harping on that, at church. So it's a level of hypocrisy is what I would call it. I know that homosexuality is not a sin, so I don't even put it in the same category as fornication and those other things. But I do think that's a certain level of hypocrisy if you're going to be using theology and those scriptures out of the Bible as the basis for it. The other thing I want to talk about is just the Black culture and the machismo, especially when I grew up, which is we as a child and a teenager in the 70s and 80s. The rigid gender roles that people put in this idea of what a man is, being unemotional, detached from your emotions, being quote unquote hard or tough, and anybody who's not acting or exhibiting a personality within those boxes is considered gay, whether they are or not. I think that's another issue in the Black community, the homophobia that I experience, and that other people experience, like I said, who are not even gay, and that we're not monolithic. There are Black nerds, there are Black people who are more intellectuals. Everybody is not a street tough person or fit into that narrow macho box of what a man is. And I always found it interesting that the definition of manhood that I grew up with, being taught by my stepfather, is the man takes care of the community, the man takes care of his family, a man stands up what he believes in, even if there's people against him. The man is responsible and accountable. I don't see those definitions of manhood being pushed a lot, especially not these days. The way I see this, people are trying not to be accountable for their actions. So that's another issue, I think, why there is homophobia there in the Black community. The other issue, which I'm tired of discussing, but I will discuss for the sake of this conversation, is Black men who are on the down low on the DL. I do think that is, I think for the most part, is a result of the homophobia that's exhibited in the Black community. From my own perspective, I've always been my own person and able to just be gay and be who I am, even when other people didn't like it or when there was opposition. I realize that a lot of people have groupthink, which I don't, which I've never had. So they may not even, they may not have the strength to deal with someone not being able to deal with that they want to, that they are actually bisexual, gay, or sometimes the resistance I see is that people will not accept in the Black community that sexuality is fluid for men the same way it is for women. A Black man may want to experiment, or he may just want an experience, or he may just want to have an interaction with the same sex sexually every now and then, but he is at the core heterosexual man. And that, like I said, sexuality is fluid. I think that's a problem. Especially I hear a lot of women online, on YouTube and other places discussing that they always bring up contracting HIV, but it's only in the context of their man being on the down low. The stats that I looked up with under the on the CDC, the Center for Disease Control reports show that the last year I could find stats was from 2022, and 22% of the HIV/AIDS cases through 2020 in 2022 were through heterosexual contact, men having sex with women, women having sex with men. So that's almost a quarter. So that's a high enough number, and that's in the United States, I'm sorry. That's a high enough number for you to be concerned about your man sleeping with other women and giving you HIV. So the other thing that we don't consider is that the remaining cases out there, 67% were continue to be gay and bisexual men for HIV/AIDS cases. So gay and bisexual men were still bearing the brunt in the United States. 22% or heterosexual contact, but the remaining percentage that we never consider are IV drug users, people who shoot up drugs. So I don't think a lot, especially on the women's side, consider that a man can be shooting up drugs and give you HIV sexually. So there are several ways that you can get HIV, and it's definitely not from a man being on the down low, because people don't understand. Men on the down low, from what I have seen, they know they're on the down low, and that doesn't stop a man from practicing safer sex, using condoms, or when he's having sex. Matter of fact, the CDC has 2 studies you can go up and look up on the CDC's on the Center for Disease Control website that shows that men on the down low actually use condoms and practice safer sex more than openly gay men. And so a man may be on the down low. That does not automatically put you at risk for contracting HIV. So that's that I have to say about the down low. But I do think that it's the down low itself is a result of the homophobia and this ideas, these limited ideas we have around sexuality in the Black community on the men's side. And also just homophobia, thinking that the only people that can get HIV are gay and bisexual men. If you look at the World Health Organization stats on, that's the United Nations, all these nations across the world, the United Nations health stats, most of the 65% of the HIV/AIDS cases are in Africa, and 90% of those cases are transmitted heterosexually between men and women having sex, not through gay sex. So that's all I have to say about that. But I do think that mindset in the Black community is a result of just irrational fear of gay people and just stereotypes about gay people around HIV. One thing I do want to highlight is the contributions that Black LGBTQ people have made. For example, Bayard Rustin was instrumental in organizing the 1963 March on Washington for Civil Rights. He was a Black gay man. At the time, the civil rights leaders felt it would be a distraction for him to be open about his homosexuality. So his role in planning the March on Washington was downplayed, but he was the person spearheading, organizing that whole march. Bayard Rustin, look him up. Also, other people you can look up is like Audre Lorde, one of our great poet laureates and warriors out there who've made contributions, and also the recently deceased Miss Major Griffin Gracie, who was a Black trans woman at Stonewall, along with Marsha P. Johnson. They were instrumental in starting the LGBTQ civil rights movement and those were Black transgender women spearheading that at the Stonewall Inn in 1969. So there are a lot of contributions that we've made to not just the Black LGBT community or the LGBTQ community, but just the Black community in general. We have been at the forefront of a lot of the things that have aided the Black community. From my own perspective, I have been involved in the local chapter of the NAACP because my pastor used to be the president of the county chapter. So I would go to meetings about NAACP there at the church and read the local magazine that we had. I do things within the Black, just to help the Black community. Like for a good 10-year period, I did volunteer work with a local organization here in Atlanta called Aid Atlanta, an HIV/AIDS service organization, where I went out into the Black community at large. I got training from Aid Atlanta, and I was able to go out into the community to give out information, factual medical information from the local health departments, the state health departments, the Center for Disease Control, that's the federal government, about HIV and AIDS to help the Black community at large, not just LGBTQ people. So from my own perspective, I do things of that nature, and I'm always trying to help in the Black community at large any way I can. I want to know what you think about homophobia in the Black community and how to combat it. I think one thing that people can do is actually get to know a Black LGBTQ person in the Black community. I think a lot of times we're just ignorant because we don't actually know a person with real lived experience who is a Black LGBTQ person. The other thing we can do is we use Google for everything else, so we can do searches and read factual information on what it is to be gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and what it actually means and what it doesn't mean. I think a lot of the ignorance is just that, just uninformed and not what I call willful ignorance, to not wanting to know. But if you try to research factual information out there and find out about LGBTQ people, there are Black organizations, Black LGBTQ organizations like National Black Justice Coalition. You can read factual information on Black LGBTQ people, our history, historical facts, and just what's going on today. There's a lot of resources. Like I said, just do a Google search, Black LGBTQ, and I'm sure you will get a bunch of pop-ups of Black LGBTQ organizations, data, studies, information that is out there. Please get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts about homophobia in the Black community, within the Black community, I say, because I mean against LGBTQ people who are also Black. So give me your thoughts, and how do you think we can counteract it and change it? Until next time, I will be signing off. Until the next video.